One of the biggest problems of this patch is that you don't have any direction. So how exactly do you get direction in TFT? There are 5 very important stuff that you need to know when you're playing a game of TFT. The first thing is the first 3 rounds of the game, 1-1, 1-2 and 1-3. It's not even about 2-1 anymore. You see, in these 3 rounds you get some champions and you need to make decisions if you buy them from the shop or you keep them on the bench. Most of the people are just holding useless units. As a general rule, never keep units that are not a main carry or units that will never be played in stage 2. For example, in this meta, you should never keep most of the 3-cast units. You can keep Lulu if you have a spot for it, Urgot if you have artifacts, but on average, all the 3-cast champions are not very good to keep. On the other hand, there are some 1-cast units that gives you no direction and makes no sense. For example, Poppy Veigar. Never keep these units unless you have like upgraded units and you have items to slam and you can play maybe around Veigar Tempo or Veigar reroll. Stargazer units are never good if the Stargazers are not good either for Twisted Fate reroll, Zaya or maybe Lulu reroll. So unless it's like Serpent, Boar or maybe in some cases Medallion where you can reroll, never keep those units either. The 2 openers that you should pay attention to are Primordians because you can play reroll Primordians or you can push levels if you have like good tempo, and of course Teemo because Teemo is one of the most consistent reroll comps in the game right now. This is the tier list for the 1 cast that you want to keep in the early game. Very important, all these rules can be changed if you have the spot for it. So for example, if you have like Poppy 2, Veigar 2, Lissandra 2, items to slam on Veigar, you can keep those units, but on average, it's not very good. The second thing that gives us direction in the game are augments. For example, there are some augments in the game that are very broken and you should click on them because it helps your placements a lot. No scout, no pivot, early learnings, expeditionist, all of these can give you very big direction or very big power spike later in the game. Meta right now, you should click on everything that gives you emblems because that means direction, and everything that helps you reroll because you can play a lot of reroll comps. Some of these augments give you emblems. This is the third thing that you need to pay attention to because there's a lot of emblems that are very good and some of them that are bait. The best emblem in the game right now is Darkstar. You can play 6 Darkstar, you win the game, or you have a good result most of the time. Second best is probably Rogue because it allows you to play like Corki with Rogue emblem and you play with Riven. Maybe you can play Master E with Riven, or you can just play Velvet reroll, which is completely fine. Brawler or Marauder emblem can go into E because it's easy to like put more Brawlers or more Marauders. Shepherd emblem, actually it's very good because you can play 7 Shepherd, and AP flex is not very contested, so you should see most of your units. Vanguard emblem, it's fine on Teemo or LeBlanc if you have good Arbiter. Challenger is decent, Meeple is fine, everything else is just like flex. If you have Bastion, you can play like a Bastion, it's not very hot, you know. The fourth thing we're gonna talk about are the openers. As we talked earlier in the video, openers are very important. So here are the openers for this patch. Primordians, you can play Primordians reroll or Mastery. Teemo, you can play Teemo reroll, or if you have a good tempo and maybe someone is contesting with a better spot, you can just go into LeBlanc with Vanguards, maybe transition to Vex later because LeBlanc never win the game. Stargazer means that you can play Twisted Fate reroll, like Caitlyn, Jax, Tristan and stuff like that. You can play Lulu as well, especially if you have good items or Prismatic Ticket. And if you don't have any of these, you can like try to play Zaya, which is not that great in the meta, but it's alright for a top 4. Meeples, you can play around Veigar reroll or you can push levels for Corki. Cho'Gath with Lissandra, you can play around the reroll Lissandra and you play vertical Dark Stars, you give Lissandra carry. Ezreal with Cho'Gath, I'm a hater of it, so I wouldn't recommend it under any circumstances. I just hate that comp, I think it's very bad. All these openers can be played into something. Don't get baited though to keep units that are not upgraded or if you don't have items for them. So for example, if you have like maybe Teemo 2 with Leona 2 but your items are like Glove, Sword and Mana, maybe you should try to play something else. It doesn't mean you cannot play it, it means that maybe something else is easier to play. Now what do you do if you don't have any of these things? No augments, no opener, no emblems. What exactly do you play? In this situation you need to do 2 things. 1, you want to save as much HP as possible, and 2, you want to slam items so it helps you save HP. But realistically, with no direction and no good early game, you're just playing for 6th. So do anything that allows you to get the 6th. If that means level aggressively, roll aggressively, that's fine. In every patch there will be a default comp. Let's call them homeless comps. These comps don't require certain conditions to be played. In our patch right now, we have Mastery and Corki. You can play Mastery from any point as long as you have some money and you have swords. On Mastery, you want Edge of Night, play 4 Marauders, you can play around 4 Brawlers, you can play around like Riven as well, it depends on the emblems you have. Default, you just play 4 Brawlers, 4 Marauders, you go level 9, play Fiora and you're good to go. Corki is another unconditional comp, but he needs some help. Corki problem is that you never win the game with Corki, so that means you can do 2 things. 1, you're just accepting to get top 3, which is completely fine, or 2, you go for a 3-star forecast. Most of the cases can be Corki or Ramos because it's not that contested. Important in Corki, you can use a lot of swords. You want Deadblade, Last Whisper, Striker, another sword item is fine. Sojourn and Blue Buff are actually not very good on Corki. You can play them, but you want Corki to just burst down everyone. You don't care about like casting 3 times in a fight or something like that. Very important in this camp is that you want items on Riven, but you want AD items. You see, by default Riven does AP damage, but if you put AD items on her, she's gonna do AD damage. So Sterak, BT, Deadblade is fine on her. Now why do you want Riven AD and not AP? What's the problem? Well, you see in this camp you actually make Last Whisper. By making Last Whisper, everyone that deals AD damage is gonna deal more damage. So that's why we just wanna make Riven AD. These are the most important things when you wanna get direction. But you need to remember that not everything is the same in every game. So for example, if you have a good spot for something, you should play it, even if most of the tier lists say are bad. For example, a very good camp that you can play is Space Grooves right now. I wouldn't say it's like the best in the meta, but if you have a Space Groove emblem, Riven 2, you go level 9, you hit Blitz 2, you'll do fine. It's just not every game. So don't be scared to like play counts from certain spots just because people say it's bad. Try it, see if it's good, if it's not, don't repeat the experiment. Hope you learned something and see you in the next one.